Good morning, movers and shakers. We are exactly at the 6-month mark of my educational coordinator term. I've done half of it. I still have 6 months to go. I'm really enjoying doing this, and I want to thank you for all the compliments and kind words that you've been giving to me over the last 6 months. But you might be interested to hear about the journey that it took for me to get here. And it started a couple years ago when I decided that I was interested in public speaking. So I began to offer to give people's 8-minute presentations for them. If you're nervous, I'll do your presentation. If you're out of town, I'll do your presentation. You want to put a different twist on it? I'll do your presentation. And I did this for free. I practiced, I wrote it, I delivered it, and I did it simply because I wanted the practice and I wanted the opportunity. It was the equivalent of sweeping the floors. And then I substituted for maybe an educational moment or two. And then when it became time to select the educational coordinator about a year and a half ago, I began to express my interest and let people know that I was interested in the position. And I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but there was actually somebody in the organization that didn't like me. I mean, come on. They didn't like me, you know? I had a hater, I think is what you call it. So, and I knew this. I knew that this person didn't like me, so I purposely called and left a voicemail. And this person happened to be in power, by the way, so it kind of mattered as to whether they liked me. But, you know, I thought that I was qualified for the position. I thought that I would do a great job for the chapter. I was hoping the person would be able to see past their dislike of me and see my public speaking ability. So left a voicemail, said, hey, you know, I want to let you know I'm really interested in being educational coordinator. And I received a text back. And the text said, well, you know, I got your voicemail, and that's nice, Brian, but, you know, we're really trying to look for people who are E squared. And I was like, oh, okay, E squared. Well, I'm not E squared. A roadblock. The person threw up a roadblock. I was like, okay, well, E squared, all right. And I don't think they were expecting this. I was like, okay, I'll go get E squared, right? So I drove around town for the next month and a half, 2 months. I spent $200. I took the remaining 4 classes. I became E squared. Then I came back and I said, hey, I'm back. And guess what? I'm E squared, and I'm still interested in being the educational coordinator. Well, as I anticipated, a different person was selected other than me. And yeah, boo, I was not happy. B. Wade was not happy. In fact, some people in this room, I think Jack Brady had to hear an earful about that, right? Yeah. I was like when Kanye West didn't win the award and he got all on a rant about it. And then they gave him the award next year because of it. So it's at that moment that most people quit. I mean, it really is. I've seen people quit networking groups for less than that. They get their feelings hurt, they get offended. But I wasn't going to quit because even if I could never be the educational coordinator, I get so much business from this group and so much benefit that I was just going to continue to be a member and keep making money. But I resigned myself to the fact that I was never going to be educational coordinator because this person had always been in power. They were always going to be in power. It was never going to change, and they didn't like B. Wade. Well, guess what? Guess what? And here's another step I took, is I went to the person who was selected educational coordinator. And I said, look, you know, I really wanted to be educational coordinator, but if you're ever out of town, and if you ever need somebody to substitute for you and do an educational moment, I'll be glad to. So as it turns out, that person had a death in the family. And I got to give 4 or 6 or maybe 8 different educational moments that year. Much to my surprise, my hater ended up leaving the organization. Left. I thought, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this person is gone. And I decided to make sure that the person that replaced this person got to know the real me, because what my hater had been doing is telling people not to like me. So I know, you know, how could anybody not like me? But then they were telling people not to like me, and then those people didn't like me, and they never met me, right? So I sat down with J.C. Richardson, and I said, look, you know, before you hear any news about who I am, why don't you sit down and get to know who I am? So look at these steps. Look at the step after step in the roadblock, and I went over it, and then I did this, and then I volunteered, and I'm doing all this step, step, step. Finally, when it came time to select the educational coordinator this last time, I was selected. All this work, all this time, all this waiting, all this not giving up, just so that I could get a volunteer public speaking job, right? Doesn't pay me anything. But they do clap for you at the end of the speeches, so that's pretty cool. Think about your business. What?
Somebody get him a donut.
No, we're trying to stay slim. So, but think about your businesses. You know, all this work just to get a free job that I happen to think I'm pretty well qualified for, right? Business takes time. And that's what people don't understand is they think it's going to happen quick. They think it's going to happen easy. They get in a group. They're like, why am I not getting any business? You know, sometimes it might be that you're selling a product that's difficult to sell. Or maybe you need to work on your sales skills. It's not always the environment you're in. Sometimes it just takes longer than you think. It's harder than you think. We have to do the work and wait. And that's true for my career as well. I've had success, a lot of success, but boy, it's been a lot of work and it's been a lot of time. So do the work, do the waiting. And one final story is that I had a referral partner in this group, never gave me any business. 5 years went by, no business. Finally, I bought his services after 5, 6 years. And then 6, 7 years, he turns around and refers me one of my biggest clients ever.
Boom.
Boom.
Shot a chain.
You never know what's going to happen. You got to put in the work. You got to do the waiting. And that's where the success comes. This is your educational moment. Brian Wade,
Woo!
Tampa Financial.
We love you, B. Wade.